man.
Gosh, we look cute.
You know what? I just trained, so
Here, scoot this way a little. Scoot this way a little.
I look so small.
Okay.
Courtney's so much bigger than me.
I know. Kelly, when I did this with Kelly, I put her in the high chair, and I was way shorter than her.
Smart.
That's funny.
That's smart.
Just the shorter person sits in the high chair. It's what we do. Okay. I guess we just get it rolling.
Yeah.
So, the title, the introduction is Be Choosey with Your Shows. So we'll start by just kind of sharing an experience that happened recently without like naming any promoters or naming any names. But basically what happened was, and this isn't necessarily a super uncommon mistake, but athletes in a show, first competition, and she's put into the wrong height class administratively. So she's 5'4", so she should have been in like a C class, right? But mistakenly, the show had her put in A class. So A class is getting ready to go and do their judging, and her name is called to go out there with A class and present. And she is currently lined up with C class. It's her first show, so she doesn't go. And then A class proceeds to be judged, and she did not go out there with them. And so typically what happens in that scenario is the athlete would be marked as a no-show. But then, so the show keeps going, blah, blah, blah. C class goes out, and novice and masters go before the open. So everybody who was in C class had already been judged. So the judges were like turning and burning, basically, like face the front, face the back, whatever. And like on and off the stage, basically, because everybody had been judged. And then finals comes around, and everybody's doing their routine, because at this show, individual routines were not done in the morning. They were only done at night, and she's nowhere on anybody's list to go and do a finals routine. And more than likely, it's because that she was marked as a no-show because she was lined up with the wrong class, which means she wouldn't have been judged. And so,
she didn't get to present.
And so it's just an administrative error, and accidents can happen. But basically, you know, the worst part is that after the fact, we're emailing the show. I'm emailing the promoter, right? And instead of like owning the mistake and being like, oh gosh, you're like looking into it further, they're denying it and basically saying, oh no, she was judged. They're not sending scorecards. They said they don't send scorecards for amateur athletes with this promoter, which is absurd. Like most do. Like at Legions, everybody could see their scorecards if they wanted to.
It's on the website. It's on NPC.
Yeah.
It's public. It's like public information.
But they wouldn't send it to me when we're asking about it, because it was just weird. So anyways, the whole situation is just such a bummer, because like, and we have to be careful how we talk about it, because it's not being a sore loser. The thing is, when you are getting ready to compete, this girl put a year and a half into this prep, like did a whole building phase, a whole dieting phase, like paid for posing coaching every single week for months leading into the show. So that way she would be prepared for the call outs. Like every box was checked. Peak week was perfect. Like every single part of her prep could not have gone better. And when you're a first time athlete, like she was prepared, like nervous, but prepared, like ready to go. And that is such an amazing feeling to have. And then to go through all of that, like having somebody watch your kids, taking off work for the weekend, paying for the tan, hair and makeup, paying the entry fee, paying for the hotel, like
NPC.
It's like $1,500 just to do a show. So like you can't just go do it again. You can't just necessarily take off work and spend $1,500 and have somebody watch your kids. That way you can go do another show if there was a mistake. So this is just the reason why I want to talk about it, is because we put our heart and soul into this. And so to have something like this happen, that's just such a small error that could so easily be fixed, is beyond heartbreaking.
And I think what also needs to be addressed is that it's not that this is just a one-off. Like it happens more often than it should. It has happened. Like I had a girl at a national show who was also put into the wrong height class, who is judged against girls who were 4 to 6 inches taller than she was. So she looks like a very small person next to those. And that's at an amateur level. We understand it's different once you get to a pro level. But that has happened. It's happened to me personally. I've been in a competition where I either hided wrong or put into the wrong class. I never got to do my presentation, so I was never judged. My coach at the time brought it to the attention of the judges, and they're like, oh, well, she can come out and present, but we're not going to rejudge. So it happens more than it should. And it's like Courtney's saying, it shouldn't happen, because we do understand that there is a lot going on as a promoter. Like there's a lot of things to deal with. You have to deal with athletes, you have to deal with sponsors, you have to deal with trainers, and like we get that. There's a lot of moving parts, but when your clientele, the people who are paying to be at your show, feel like they don't matter, it's like that's where things go terribly wrong. Because that is the lifeblood of any production, is the athletes and the coaches that bring those athletes to those shows.
Yeah, another example, I had it happen in Texas last fall, but that girl, it was her first time competing, but she was able to speak up, but they did not rejudge it. They refunded her for her entry fee. Mm-hmm. But like the thing is, like, even if you do get a refund when an error happens, like just not getting what you deserve, like not getting a placing that you deserve, not getting judged, like just the amount of work and heart and like effort that goes into this is just like, that's not something that you can get back. And it can be very difficult to pick another show and go do it again and get the time off work and make that investment. And so,
or to even want to do it again after having an experience like that.
Yeah, especially if that's your first show. Like, of course, like you might not, and we love bodybuilding. We love competing. We love shows. We love being at shows. That is where our heart is. And that's why, like, you should be able to trust the promoter to do their job. You know what I mean? People are in the right class. They go on. If an error happens, it gets fixed. And that's the thing too. Like, there was a thing where they were like, oh, go on with class C, and like the expediter knew that something was off, but it didn't make it back to the judging table, and like they didn't move it around on the papers where it needed to be moved around so that way a rejudge could happen to remedy the situation. Because sometimes they will. Like in Sam's situation, they didn't rejudge it, but in some situations they will. So it's like just being able to catch the error, fix it, or like even after the fact, just acknowledge that it happened and maybe give that person like a free entry to another show or like something.
Which objectively, like if you give someone an entry to a class, like you're still going to make money off of that athlete, because chances are they're still going to bring their family and friends to watch them. There's still someone paying for tickets. There's still a give back. So I always feel like that's the right thing to do, is to make sure that the athlete feels taken care of, which is, for us as coaches, it's infinitely frustrating to put somebody into a show and have that kind of experience. And then we're here like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And so like the purpose of us kind of sharing these experiences, because, you know, between the two of us, we've had, you know, several. I mean, granted, we've been doing this a long time, but, you know, it happens maybe more often than you think. It's maybe happened to somebody watching this, or somebody who watches this and they're like, damn. And the moral of the story here is that not all shows are created equal. And so that being said, like, especially when you're new to this, you don't know that there's different promoters, and you don't know that, like, it used to be a standard back in the day where it was like everybody got swag bags, there was boosts, there were supplements, like the competitors would get t-shirts and free stuff. And then like that started happening less on a regional level, but you go to a national level and you get like t-shirts or whatever.
But that's like, that COVID caused that. That wasn't necessarily promoters. COVID, I think, was the major problem there.
Yeah. Well, it used to be a thing, and it's just not really a thing anymore.
It's not as much anymore.
It's not as standard anymore, but there are some promoters who still do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to do, is we want to share with you guys some of the promoters that we know who literally take care of the athletes. They do get swag bags. They do get t-shirts. The shows are run smoothly. There's a good backstage area. The athletes are treated well. Things run smoothly. Things run on time. You know, they're not way behind. They're not way ahead. Like, just really, really good quality shows. And this is where we, as coaches, and like we work together, we have team shows that, we want to do, we can never guarantee a good experience all the way, right? Like we can't control the judging. We can't control those things. We're aware of that, but like we want to give somebody the best experience we can. And, like that's why us being there or us giving you guys the tools to be like, hey, make sure you say something, try and get it fixed, pick the best promoter. It can increase your chances of having a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
The
some
best,
of our favorites.
Yeah, some of our favorites. Wings of Strength puts on great productions.
They do. Wings of Strength does a great job. I would also say anything that Jay Cutler puts his name on, because he makes an effort not only to be there in person, but to also make sure that it's expedited smoothly and everything is taken care of. He has a show here in Las Vegas. I know he's got several throughout the Midwest and on the East Coast, and he still travels and makes an appearance at all of those. And being a former athlete, like he does a very good job taking care of the NPC athletes at every show.
Mark and Jen with the high roller. So like any
that's one of my favorites.
Any show that is promoted by like pro athletes or somebody who was an athlete and retired, usually they understand because they've been there. They've done it a million times. They know how a good show runs and they make sure it happens.
I'd say Sid is another one of those that does the Peach Classic in Georgia. She puts on, I've heard nothing but amazing things about her shows and those productions. And the Clash series, that's mostly Florida, but I know they have South Carolina. They do the Carolinas too. But,
Sandy promotes some good shows, right?
Yeah, Sandy does Junior Nats is her national show. And then she does help with the center podium.
Wasatch is a good show too, right?
Wasatch is a good show, and that's Robin, who was a figure pro. That's her production.
It's trending. Yeah. It's the shows where they used to be athletes. Also, for our OCB competitors, the Conqueror. So what's the name of the productions though?
OCB?
Yeah, for Aaron's show. It's the Conqueror, but they have a couple of shows now. I'll get the name of it, but for our OCB people.
Yeah.
But the Conqueror, that one is a great show. That one's on the East Coast, but they're actually going to start promoting a couple more as well.
They're going to have one here, right?
Yeah, I think.
Vegas.
Yeah, they're gonna have one here in Vegas. So we'll make sure we get the name of that promoter for you guys too. But like we said, when it comes to picking your shows, don't necessarily just go for what's convenient. Don't just go for what's the closest to you. Like definitely have a conversation with your coach if they have an experience there, if they've been to that show, because
just even other athletes who have competed in those shows before. Because as much as I would like to say I know everything and the decade plus that I've been doing this, the truth is I haven't been to every single show. I don't know every single promoter, but you can gauge based on like athlete feedback from the years prior, and then there's also some that I would say that I would tell people to be cautious of.
Yeah.
Because I know I like as cool, like the Arnold amateur shows and the Olympia amateur shows, they're amazing. It's super cool to be able to be on that stage and the lights are great. They don't really give the NPC athletes too much time. So anytime, and I mean, like for all intents and purposes, you have a smaller chance of getting a pro card at a show like that. But it's a cool thing to do for the experience. But me as a coach, I do try to move people away from those shows because I'm like, it's just turn and burn. You don't get a whole lot of stage time. You don't get a whole lot of time in comparisons. If you're an international athlete, that's something completely different because you don't have as many opportunities in the United States. But if you're a local to the States, like go watch the show, but it is a very large investment for what is not going to be as good of an experience.
I feel like though, like it's worth taking it back to the experience that started this whole thing, right? It would have been worth spending a little bit of extra money to travel somewhere where like maybe you did have a team show or, you know what I mean? Your coach was going to be there because, there's nothing worse than just not even getting judged. Like you're at a show and you're in the pictures and like, they can kind of go back and cover their tracks a little bit like, oh, she was there. We can just fill in this. Like, you know what I mean? But like, we know what happened because bodybuilding is a very visual sport. It is so painstakingly obvious what happened. And it's just like the other athletes were confused. Like, it's so unfortunate and it's so obvious. And Like there probably is nothing that's gonna be done to fix it. We're trying, we're advocating, we're emailing, but like at the end of the day, the best thing that we can do is learn and, pivot and move forward and just try to, pick better shows and know that we're never gonna use that promoter ever again. So ever.
Yeah, probably not. That would be a hard one to come back from.
But to kind of end things on a positive note, we did learn and, go do team shows where your coach is going to be there. We're going to have other athletes. We're going to be able to connect. The show experience is so much more than just replacing what happens there. It's like before, during, after. It's a whole like very immersive experience. It's very emotional. It's like a big adrenaline dump. And, you want to set yourself up for success in the best possible experience, no matter what happens on stage. So.
Oh yeah, Tina said in Northern California, all the Spectrum Fitness, that I think is Sandy's production, not the Center.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Fitness shows, and I have heard really good things about those ones too.
Legions was a great show too. That one's is that one Spectrum?
No, that's Center Podium.
That's Center Podium. All right. Well, anyway,
that's also like Northern California Arena.
This is good though. If you guys are watching this, or if you're watching it back, comment your favorite promoters, or if you have a show that you really loved or you had a great experience at, shout them out because it helps. Like us as athletes, we can help each other if we had a great experience somewhere. Like it is so worth like allowing the promoter to be rewarded for that by bringing more people to those shows, and us as athletes and coaches, like we want our athletes to have a better experience. So definitely comment your favorite show, your favorite promoter if they did a great job, and we'll definitely add it to our list. And think about it.
I mean, we're traveling to Daytona in September. But then we're also we're bringing people to Las Vegas to do the High Roller, which is Mark and Jen show.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited for that one too, because it's always, I mean, in the 3 years that it's been running, it's always my favorite Las Vegas production.
Jay Cutler. Yeah.
Jay Cutler.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we were saying too, is I said earlier, like anything Jay puts his name on is going to be amazing. And I love him as like a part of the community and as an athlete, because he does work very hard to make sure that everybody has a good experience, athletes and coaches included, and even people in the audience. Like he'll hang out for a long time and like sign autographs or take pictures with people. He's amazing. And Mark and Jen are the same way with their shows. Yeah.
The High Rollers is that one in
November 15th?
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Also did Jay Cutler and Wings of Strength, and both were incredible. Yes.
Yeah, Wings of Strength. I just went to one of those last weekend, and it was pretty unbelievable. Every athlete got swag bags. The prizes were great.
And that was the second one that you were at. I didn't go this past weekend, but that was the second Wings of Strength show, because we also went in May.
They pay for the overall champion to go to nationals. Yeah, which if cool. You've never entered a national show, it's like $400 for one class. So that's huge. So like they take super good care of their athletes, and the prizes are super sweet. So anyways, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys got value from that. Like, and again, even though like we kind of had an unfortunate experience, we still want to keep the vibe positive and try to learn from it and grow from it and share what we learned with you guys, so that we can all have a better experience.
And I think also just to make it public that like if something like this happened to you, it's not like you're not alone in that. And if you haven't, I mean, talk to other athletes, talk to your coach about it, talk to the promoters about it. Like that's something that should be heard, because it's not just, a fiscal investment that we put into these things. It's so much work and energy and time that goes into being on stage, and it should be something that is taken care of at every level.
And emotions. And this is, I want to say one more thing too, is like this athlete that I'm talking about was like instantly thinking like, man, like, did I do something wrong? Like she was like looking at herself like imposter syndrome, like, and we all kind of struggle with it anyways, but especially for your first show doing this, it's like, you don't really know if you even belong there. And then something like that happens. And I told her, I'm like, dude, it's honestly just really shit luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a simple administrative error. It has nothing to do with the athlete. It doesn't mean that like it's some larger sign that they are or that they're not supposed to compete. It doesn't mean they do or don't belong somewhere. It is literally just shit luck sometimes. And it is heartbreaking because nobody deserves that. So,
yeah.
Anyways, I was supposed to end it positively. Sorry.
Well, the positive would be like, I guess the best answer is better communication with other athletes, with your coach, with even show promoters. It was like most, if not all, show promoters have an email address or a phone number that you should be able to reach them at. And if you have questions or concerns, they address those or should address those very quickly. And that's actually I had a personal experience with that very recently because I was trying to get everything set up for when we travel to Daytona. And I emailed the promoter and he responded to me within an hour. Like, that's amazing. It's nice to have like good communication from somebody.
Yeah. So be choosy with your shows. Like, talk to other athletes, talk to your coach about it. Like, don't always necessarily just do what's convenient just because it's convenient, because it is worth going out of your way for all this work that you put in for a better experience. So don't forget to comment your favorite promoters, your favorite shows. Give them some love, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, end it.